everybody. This is Tia Woodward, and I am Stamp with Tia. Today is Monday, February 21st, and this is my regularly scheduled Facebook Live. And today I am demonstrating the Stampin' Up! Butterflies and Flowers decorative masks. So, I was starting to think this wasn't going to happen. I couldn't get my camera to go live, but it did, and I'm really grateful. And I understand I'm not the only one that has had such a similar problem recently with this particular app. So hopefully the rest of this Facebook Live goes well. Counting on it. Hi, Terry. So let's see, what can I tell you? Today we are in the last 7 days of Celebration. And Celebration is the opportunity for you to get free stuff with qualifying purchases. And I've gone over it lots and lots and lots. And I see Andy is on too. Hi, Andy. And hi, Terry. And let's see, there's some stamp sets, there's some papers, some designer series papers, and it's all really good stuff. And if you've had any interest in it at all, you've only got 7 days left to make that purchase, and it is while supplies last, so I probably wouldn't wait till the last minute if you're interested. Okay? Let's see, what else can I tell you? We are, today I'm going to show you something that's from the mini catalog, from the January through June mini catalog. And it's really fun. There's a little bit of stamping, but mostly it's not stamping. Mostly I'm using these masks, and it's really kind of cool. I enjoyed playing with them. I enjoyed these particular masks. So I've shown you other masks in the past that are in the annual catalog. Matter of fact, I have them right here. So we have the Plenty of Patterns masks. There's 4 in here, and then we have the basic pattern decorative masks. If I remember correctly, these are $6 per set of 4. Oh, excuse me, $8. They're $8 a piece, which is still a phenomenal deal, especially when you see what I'm about to show you on all the different. Well, I'm not going to show you all the different things that you could do, but the things that I'm going to show you will show you just how diverse you can be in using these masks. As a matter of fact, this is the instructions that come with one of the masks, or with one of the sets of masks, and it says that you can spritz using ink, chalk, or glimmer sprays. So we have those spritzers. You can put the mask on the paper, and then you can spritz the design on and lift the mask off, and it'll leave a design. You can sponge. You're going to see me use the sponge daubers. We sell those. They're not terribly expensive. Let's see, there's 5 daubers for $5. And I save mine. I have a little tray that I put mine in, and I just continue to reuse the same color on that particular, so nothing goes to waste. You can trace using markers. You can emboss using Versamark ink and embossing powder. I've done that in the past. It turns out beautiful. I've also used the heat and stick powder, and then I've used the gold foil, and that turned out beautiful. You can add texture using embossing paste. I'm going to show you a couple of samples of those. I am not making those today, but I did make up a couple of samples so that you could see those. And I'm looking for, there it is. I had a beautiful one that I even used using the shimmer embossing paste. I want to make sure I put that here on the table so when I turn the camera down, you can see it. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I can pull out one of these and show you basically what a mask looks like. So the mask is, it's a piece of plastic, and it's got a design cut in it. This one has This one has polka dots, but there's all different kinds of designs. I'm not going to open all of these up from these other designs, but I will show you all of the ones that come in the butterflies and flowering decorative masks. Darn it, they do get a little snaggy, so they can, you just have to be patient with them. Okay, I'm going to set those aside. I'm going to pull over the masks that we're going to use today. Before I go too much farther, I do want to tell you that next week I am going to be demonstrating the Easter Friends. See if I can get this up here right. So we got the bunny and the chick and the little duckling. So I'm going to be demonstrating that next week. I'm laying out the masks on my desktop, and I will turn the camera down. I'm going to move these catalogs, and we're going to basically get started. Hopefully, I always put down those catalogs before I'm actually done with them, and I close them up. So, oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. So the decorative masks that I'm going to show you today are in the January through June mini catalog on page 65. These are $10. There are more masks. There's 6 masks in here. What page did I say? 65. Shouldn't have doubted myself. That's what I thought I said. So when I turn the camera down, you will be able to see some of the samples that they've got here. So I will do that. I'm excited to show you these. So I've got three projects that I'm doing today. They all go pretty quick. And hi, Jean. And I'm going to turn my camera around. Let's see, I'm at an angle. Something's wrong. There we go, that's better. And it looks like I'm straight, so I'm going to go with it. Here's the host code that is good through the end of the month. So right here, and I'll bring this up a little closer to the camera, here are some samples of using these decorative masks. So these are layered to create these multiple colors. You see that? So now and here are the 6, and you're going to see that as soon as I remove my catalog from the way. Today I am going to use, let me close this up again. I'm going to roll the dice and take a chance. I am going to use 4 of these 6. I am going to use these 4 and not these 2. Not for any particular reason other than this is what my project, these are the ones that enhance the projects today. So see, I can put these 2 aside, push this chair out of the way because now it's time to stand up and get busy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this one. And so I've got three projects. I can show these to you. I've got 3 projects here. None of these have their embellishments on them yet. And 2 of them don't even have their sentiments on them yet. But I'm going to show you how to make these. I just needed to get my layout figured out before I went too far. But look at this. So here I've used 3 different colors of ink for the purple, and then I've used 1 color of ink for the greenery. So I'm using Pear Pizzazz as my green. I'm using Gorgeous Grape, Fresh Freesia, and Highland Heather for my 3 purples. And then that's what my inside looks like. Okay. This one, I think I'm going to use these amazing die, the Amazing Thanks dies. Sorry, kicking over my my cutting board. Anyway, so I've got these here, and I thought it would be nice to say like amazing across here or something bold and beautiful like this butterfly was. And then this one I was thinking would be like a happy birthday card. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what the projects are going to look like. I do want to show you before I start. So here are some samples of using the embossing paste. So here is using the embossing paste with just 1 drop of color added to the embossing paste, and this mask applied to the paper. And then I've got palette knives that I use to spread the embossing paste. And I've got that look. Now here is the exact same pattern. And let's see if I'm going to look in the mirror here, or in the, see if you can see. If I get it close enough, you can see there's shimmer in this one. And what I did is I mixed the shimmer embossing powder with the plain, not powder, embossing paste, with the plain embossing paste to get this iridescent shimmer. And then this is just an example of, from one of the other masks, that polka dot. And can you see that little raised texture? There's just a bit of a raised texture here. This stuff dries hard, it dries fast. It's really nice. I actually, this had been my intention to use on the back of this card, and I couldn't quite make it work, so I ended up switching it up at the end. But that's okay, because this actually takes, it dries fast, but the paper takes a little bit longer to dry because there's some moisture in it. Set those out of the way, set this out of the way. We're going to use this and this. I have pre-cut my papers. So there's the one that we're working on right now. And what I do is I use the Post-it tape to hold my paper down, and then I will use Post-it tape to hold down my mask as well. And I'm doing something about like such. So in order to make sure that my blending brushes don't come off, you're going to see me apply a lot of Post-it tape and Post-it notes to cover it up, cover up any areas that might allow ink to end up on the other areas of my paper. So we're going to do that. And then you're just going to see me use a whole bunch of Post-it notes. And I buy these specifically for a project just like this. So I'm just protecting my cardstock. All right. So I'm going to start with my Fresh Freesia. It's the lightest of my 3 purples. I'm going to use a blending brush for this particular portion of my application. And I'm going to start over here and make sure I'm not making a blob. There we go. So I'm just going to come in and apply my ink. And this is going to, so I've made it a little heavier in some areas and a little lighter in other areas. And now I'm going to come in with my Highland Heather. I'm going to, there's not much extra ink on here, but I'm just gonna, yeah, see there's no extra ink on there. I'm gonna pick up some Highland Heather, test it out over here, and I'm gonna come in, and I'm not covering up that fresh freesia. I'm coming in on some of my lighter areas. And that's good. Now I'm going to use I'm going to switch masks, and I've got, there's a second mask that I use to apply this darker color. So I'm going to carefully remove all my Post-its. I hope everybody had a nice weekend. All right, and it takes just a second to line up everything. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Sorry, I might have to get my head in the camera. That's funny, I didn't run into this. This looks like, oh, I had it backwards. There we go. That's better. So now I'm looking through the mask and I'm looking for equal proportion. So first of all, I'm covering up all those white spots for my placement. And yeah, that looks like I'm pretty evenly applied. So I'm looking outside of the mask area at this shadow. I've got pretty much an equal distance. That little flower isn't looking right. Let me try that let me try that again. Well, that's what we're going to go with. That's what we're going to go with. All right, going to use a couple pieces of the Post-it tape to hold things in place, and then going to come in with my Post-it notes again and hide these other areas that I want to make sure no ink accidentally travels. Like such. Hi, Sonia. Thank you, thank you. Use a couple more Post-its. There, now all of my below cardstock is covered. I can go ahead and apply my gorgeous grape now. My gorgeous grape is plenty saturated and dark. There we go. I think that is good. Just realized what the one thing was I didn't bring in here. That's okay. I think I can use my chamois to do it. Need to wipe the ink colors off of my mask before I go on to the next project. All right. And we're not there yet, but I want to make sure I don't forget that. There you go. Do you like that? I think that is rich and beautiful. And we're actually done with the 3 purple inks now. And we will switch over to the Pear Pizzazz. I am going to grab my chamois. Normally I have a wet paper towel here to do this with, but I want to make sure that I don't forget to wipe this off before my next project. There we go. Not bad. All right. So next I am going to apply some of these stems and greeneries Okay, can't get it picked up. There we go. So I'm going to apply some greenery around here, like we have done here. And instead of using the blending brush and doing big sweeping motions, I'm actually going to be using my sponge dauber. I don't know why I was putting that away. I just wanted to put this off to one side. So I have a sponge dauber. And I'm going to talk a little louder and sit down so that my eyes are a little closer to my project. And I guess I'm going to double check and make sure I've got that centered so that you can see it. Yep. All right, so I'm going to use this double greenery here. And this is, there's no way that this is going to match exactly to my reference piece here, but it's going to be close. So I'm going to just adhere that down so it doesn't move. I'm going to apply some ink to my sponge dauber. And I'm just going to tap it. So now I've shown you the sponge dauber and I've shown you the blending brush. Okay, so there was one. Let's do another one over here. And I mean, how quick and fun is this? Oh, now see, I'm hoping that's not my cardstock. It is. See, I just got that on my cardstock. Boo. I wasn't careful. Oh, I got it on here too. Double boo. I'm not sure that that's going to come off with my sand eraser. Let me double check. I might have to start over. That would be a big bummer. So this is a sand eraser that it's basically just an eraser with sand in it. It allows you to pick up some of your flubbies. And this is kind of a big mistake on my part. I do have extra paper cut and ready to go, but it does look like for the sake of this presentation, I can make that one work. And then I will, let's see if I can get this one up. I don't want to go any farther if I can't get it taken care of. I can. Okay. So, for the sake of this presentation, I can fix this. And this is a case of do as I say, not as I do. So what I'm telling you is to mask, mask, mask to make sure you don't make a mistake like this. So that's totally my fault. All right, I'm going to come up here. Let's see. And do something like that. And I have an extra piece of tape here where I can, there. That should be better now. So again, sorry for the interruption. I am just using my sponge dauber to apply the ink. All right, there's another set of stems. And let's see, can I get in one more of the doubles before I start using singles? What if I do that one right there? That would be good. So even though that goes off the edge of the paper, you want to fill in that design. You don't want that to look sparse. All right. Now I'm going to switch over to single leaf or a single stem and double check to see if there's any questions. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Let's throw a single stem. Well, on here I had a single stem coming off over here, but this one I don't need that. I am going to dummy in a single stem right here just to make this one a little bit more full. So you can see I'm just building. I'm just applying more and more ink by moving my mask around. Let's see. Kind of feel like this is a little sparse. Add just a little touch right here. And this is going to be a case of do as I say, not as I do. I'm not even going to tape this one down because I'm basically going to hit this like 3 or 4 times with the ink and move it. Oh goodness, let's see. And I don't think any of these stems are going to work. Oh, unless I were to, if I were to mask off these 2 little lobes on the bottom, then this little heart shape that's right here could come up out of in between these 2 flowers. So do I want that? Do I want one to come out here or come out here? I'm thinking here. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. I'm going to mask off 2 of the lobes. And I'll lift this up so that you can see it closer. And so that I can see it closer. Yep. So see, I've just masked off those 2 there, and I'm going to put this little heart shape coming out from in between. Now I can't see it as well, but it was necessary to mask those off. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's good. I'm not gonna belabor that. All right. And I'm gonna come back in with this sand eraser one more time and work on this little dirty spot that I made right here. I just got this on Amazon. All right. Goodness, I've got stickies all over me. I'm going to keep my ink pad open. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment. In this case, it's going to be a sympathy card, which I have over here. So I've got with sympathy. And let's see if I can do this without putting my head right in the camera. Ta-da! Looks like I got a little purple right here too. Man, I was messy. My samples went off without a hitch, so I got a little comfortable with what I was doing. Okay, so there's the front that we're going to put on a gorgeous grape mat. So here is the inner card. And it's going to say, thinking of you, and we're going to use the mask. Let's see, I might as well just go ahead and do the mask right now. To create those two little corners. So I've positioned the leaves, I've snugged them up to the corner. And I'm being careful, more careful, with where my dauber sponge is touching. Excuse me, and I'm going to do the same thing, oops, up in this corner. My mask was getting into my ink. So I had a friend, actually it's a relative, my husband's cousin came and stayed the weekend with us, and we had a delightful time. It was, I met the person before, but it was the first time I'd gotten to know them personally, and it was great. We were truly sisters of the heart. It was pretty great. There we go. So I've just basically stenciled on a little bit of greenery in the corners. We cooked together, we laughed together. My husband and her looked at photo albums together. We went and did just a little bit of sightseeing to see where my husband works. And there we go. There we go. So now both of these are ready to be put on their mats. I'm going to burnish, and I am going to embellish these. The sample card is not embellished, but I've got my ribbons and such right here. I did forget to grab my gems, but they're nearby. Okay, this is really close to center, but not quite. There we go. There we go. So, going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this. So that's what our weekend looked like. It was nice. And then last night we watched the end of the the closing of the Olympics. And then started our new week again with a holiday. Happy President's Day, everybody. So, didn't that card go together quick? And it's so beautiful and rich, it doesn't need a lot of embellishments. That's just my personal opinion. These masks are so cost effective. Thank you. I appreciate that, Andy. Yeah, the colors are just rich and pretty, aren't they? And then I'm just adhering these flat down. Yes. Andy, I'm not sure if you saw the embossing paste samples that I showed. They weren't full cards, they were just pages. But that's another option to make these really pop and stand out. And set this one in here. And then I've picked Gorgeous Grape and Fresh Freesia ribbon to make a pretty bow on the front of this card. Oh, you did? And okay, great. Glad you saw them. Glad you saw them. I think I overdressed for today. I was expecting a cooler day, and I'm quite warm. Let's see. Here are my ribbons. I better close up that ink before I go sticking a ribbon in there. Got my bow maker. And I'm just going to put a bow on here. I'm not going to wrap anything all the way around. Let's see. I'm guessing a smaller bow would be sufficient here, because I don't want to cover up all this beautiful ink. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to cut the same length of the fresh freesia. So this is the open weave ribbon. You can see I'm at the end. I need to place an order later today for more. Almost all of the colors from this in color open weave ribbon. I think I'm calling it the wrong thing. But it's the new in colors from 2022. No, 2021 to 2022. I'm going to cut my ribbon right down the center, the fresh freesia one. Because it makes kind of a sweeter little bow when these have been cut into smaller sections. And I am going to leave the grape, gorgeous grape, as the whiter. Let's see. Just like that. Andy, I saw your new glue holder online. That was beautiful and so sweet of your husband to do. All right. Sometimes when I'm doing the multi-stranded bow, it is a little tricky. Like I feel like I'm losing hold of something here. And I probably wouldn't feel that way if I would have made the ends longer. I just hate to waste them when I know I'm going to cut them off. Okay, let's see how, did I get them all? I got them all through. Whew. Whew. There, come on. As my husband has also posted on Stamp Up page, yeah. Inundated with requests to make and sell them. That's awesome. Is he interested? That's cool. That's really cool. So you have found some stampers then. Let's see, I'm making a mess of this bow, friends. I had a feeling that you would. I did. Okay, so this bow could go in the center, it could go off to one side, it could go here, it could... I'm a free site for 3D. Since he didn't design it, he can't sell it. Oh. That makes sense. Okay. That makes sense. Well, that's good that he checked. All right, I'm fussing. I should have just done this as, I wonder if I can untie this and just retie just those little bows. I made this too complicated. It would have been beautiful, but just going to go with the fresh freesia. Try that one more time. Maybe I've just got futzy fingers today. That's great. Andy, I think that's really awesome. So have you connected now with some stampers? It sounds like it if you got inundated for some designs. Or for some glue holders. Okay. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. All right, it's a much smaller bow, much more petite. Oh, okay. That's great. That's cool. Okay, this actually looks kind of pretty right there, doesn't it? Yeah, that's really sweet, just like that. I'm going to grab a glue dot. Ta-da! Yeah, there's so many sites that we can access and get to know people and just see so many different types of styling and ways of wording things. I just love being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and everybody I've met has just been wonderful. There. Cut this one just a little bit shorter, not much. All right, clear this off, throw a couple of gems on here. And how sweet is that card? I love this card. I think it's beautiful. So I'm going to grab some gems. I'm going to grab, let's see. I've got the in color gems, but I've also got, I've got the butterflies, which I've been using a lot. I've got pearls, which would look beautiful on here. What I just saw, and I've got these that I've never used, which are the pastel pearls. They're kind of big. I don't know. Or I've got the regular pearls, which are quite a bit smaller. Well, I can put one on and see what I think, just because I've never used them. Oh, I didn't even know there was pink on here. See how big those are? I don't know. That's not rocking my world. I'm gonna go with the smaller pearl. I prefer a little bit more understatement than and it is a sympathy card. It's not a big blingy card. So I'm gonna go with, I'm just going to set, of course, I do have flutzy fingers today, don't I? I'm just going to put my pearls in amongst the foliage. Doesn't that add a sweet little touch? There. There. Doesn't that look, that looks really nice and finished now, doesn't it? Okay. Move all of this off to one side. So all those clear plastic sleeves that you just saw, I store my embellishments in these sleeves, and when I have multiple packages, they all fit in one sleeve. So I don't have a whole bunch of separate packages floating about. They're all kind of compressed or connected. All right, well, there's the first card. Let's move on to that second card. All right, this is the second card that we're going to do. And this one, I am going to color the background of the cardstock, or the background. Ugh. So I'm going to make sure I've got the right size piece of paper. Oh, this is slightly smaller. I must not have realized I did that. We're going to go with it. I'm not going to recut. Yep. But I did it in equal portions, so we're going to go with it. All right, going to adhere. Let's see. Oh, because I am going to use this all the way out to the edges, and this is bigger, I'm putting a piece of sticky tape on the back, Post-it tape, like that. And then I'm going to lay my design on. Make sure it's as straight or as crooked as I so desire. And I'm going to grab another drink real quick. I grab my blending brush. So for this card, I'm using Soft Succulent and Polished Pink. And these are from our 2021-2022 in colors. And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, Stampin' Up! Has 5 colors every year that they introduce. And they stay, did I say 2022? It's 2021 to 2023. Okay, have a good day. Talk to you later. 2021 to 2023, they bring in 5 colors that are what they call the in colors for 2 years. So it's 5 colors for 2 years. So I'm taking the Soft Succulent and on using my blending brush, and I'm going to apply it to Soft Succulent paper. And I'm not worried about it being completely even. So you can see on this card, there's some spots that are a little darker and some spots that are a little softer, and I actually like that look. And I'm not sure how well you can see on camera. I can see where my ink has been applied. So yeah, it was a nice weekend here with relatives, or a relative. All right, that's probably pretty good. I'm gonna do a quick little lift here. Oh yeah, there we go. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to set this to one side because I'm actually going to use this again with the same color but on a different paper on the next card. And my Post-it tape, because this is the second card I've been using these for, these are starting to lose their sticky. So I'm going to toss those and I will grab new. And we'll set that to one side and we will work on these pink flowers now. And kind of excited to show you this pink because I am, and I'm going to close this up. There we go. So I'm going to fussy cut these, so I don't need to center them or place them specifically in a specific location on this mask. And I already washed off this mask. You saw me do that. So I'm going to stick down my paper and stick down my mask. There we go. Now I used just one color on, oh, and I'd better use all my Post-it notes, right? We saw me make that mistake earlier. So I'm covering up the other areas of the mask. And I'm covering up the remainder of the, well, I guess it didn't matter because I'm technically not using it now that I'm thinking about it more clearly. That's okay. It's a good practice to be in. It's a good practice to be in. So I'm going to get a little bit of color on my blending brush, and on one of these Post-its I'm just going to make sure I don't have a blobby, and I really want just a really light application of this color. So this is polished pink. I just want a real light application. So you saw me with this, where'd the purple card go? That's funny. That's funny. Where did my, there it is. It was under those gems. But with this card, you saw me use 3 different colors of ink. On this one, we're just using 2. All right, real light application, does not need to be even. Then I'm going to remove all of my Post-its. Turn the mask around. Oops, like this. There we go. And tape it back down in place. So again, we're just like I did with the last one, I'm aligning so that the mask covers up the white portions left by the previous mask. And I'm looking through my mask at these perimeters, and I see that I have equal distance perimeters all the way around, so I feel like it's in a good place. And again with the Post-it notes, I'm going to cover up these areas. So that my ink, as I'm doing my big sweeping strokes, I don't make a mess on the rest of the card. Now, like I mentioned a minute ago, I'm actually going to be cutting this out. But I need part of this card because there's actually 2 layers of these flowers. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to apply the saturated color of this pink. So instead of having that light hand, I'm coming in with a heavy hand. And I guess I haven't told everybody yet today how grateful I am that you're here. I am very grateful that you're here. And one of the beautiful things about a Facebook Live is that it's recorded. And so if you miss the presentation or demonstration, you can come back and watch it later. Look at how beautiful that turned out. Now, I actually want 2 more of these flowers, this one and this one. So I'm going to take this mask and I am going to just do them right here. So I'm going to tape this down. I'm going to tape this down. Now this is where it's going to get really important for me to be careful about what I've got going on. So I only need these 2 flowers, so this doesn't need to be perfect. I'm going to be fussy cutting these out. All right, that's probably good enough. So this was that more open side. This is not the saturated color. I'm actually going to test this. I still have a little bit of light pink on there, so I'm just going to come in and apply my light pink. I didn't even have to put that in the ink pad to get what I needed. Again, remove. I mean, this is the hardest part, right? Just removing all of this, the Post-its and Post-it tape. All right. So now I'm just going to rotate this. And hopefully not get my head in the camera. I just lined up those same spots that I was lining up before. Now back with the Post-it notes again. Okay, now with the saturated color. Ta-da! Just like that. All right. And now all of these Post-it notes are starting to lose their stick and they've got quite a bit of color on them. So I'm just going to toss these, and for the next project I will grab new. Okay. I don't need this one again, and so I'm going to wash it later instead of right now. And now I am ready to fussy cut these 2 flowers and this arrangement. Set that off to one side. And I'm going to sit down while I do this. So I will talk just a little louder. It's a little easier on my back when I get the project a little closer to my body, which is easier to do when I'm sitting versus standing. I think most people that follow me know that I'm dealing with a little back issue. So I'm just going to cut off some of this excess, make it easier to fussy cut. And then I am going to come in and just barely do a little, let's see, sometimes my light source makes it so that there's a shadow with my scissors. So there's just barely a little halo. And the secret to, okay, I gotta change change the direction of my light here. Let's see if I can do that. Better stand up and make sure I'm still in camera. All right. There we go. So I'm just leaving barely a little halo around my, this is hard to see because I've got that light pink right there, right? But I'm just divoting in, coming back out. And if I don't like the perimeter, I can go back and I can touch it up after I've cut. Let's see. But the main thing to remember with fussy cutting is that you're going to keep you're going to keep moving your paper, and you're basically going to keep your scissors in the same direction. So that's what I'm doing. So my husband and I this is our 10-year wedding anniversary year in April. So we've been talking in the last few days about what we're going to do. I think we're going to go to the same place that we normally do, but I think we're going to make it a slightly longer stay. We have a lot of traveling with our boat racing this summer. So we're just wanting to be kind of smart about how much traveling we're doing this spring. We're trying not to freak out over the cost of gas, but it's hard not to. There we go. That was the hardest part. These two flowers are the hardest part to do the fussy cutting. Now here I go. It's not raining right now. Our temperatures are going to be dipping in the next few hours. We've had some warmer weather, but originally a couple days ago we were told that we were going to be getting snow and ice, but that has now changed. So what has been your favorite item out of the Celebration catalog or flyer? If you've made a purchase, I would love to know what your favorite item has been. I think mine has been the Rainbows and Sunshine paper. There. So I've got the first layer cut out. Oops. Looks like I could have improved that slightly. There we go. This Thursday, ooh, I almost threw those away. This Thursday is mystery stamping. Would love to have you join us. I post a set of clues, sometimes the night before, sometimes the day of. And in those clues, they tell you what to prepare ahead of time. You don't get to know what we're making. And then I make it live on Thursday night, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. and you craft along with me. Sorry, I was concentrating because the tight little fussy cutting area here. Yeah, I craft right along. So if you have any question about my instructions, you actually get to see what I'm doing. Looking in the camera to make sure you can actually see what I'm doing now. You can. So these little flowers will allow for a little 3D pop-up on the front of this card, giving this little bouquet more dimension. I actually had forgotten that I had today off from my day job. And here we go. Let's see, how far do I want to go down in there? Looks like on the other one I went all the way down, so I will do the same. So next week is the beginning of American Idol. Does anybody else like American Idol? I didn't used to have a TV, and one of the first things that my husband introduced me to when we started dating was American Idol. So I've watched all of them since. Let's see. Oh, I know what I didn't mention at the beginning of this video regarding Celebration is that we have a joining special. And with that joining special is, or what the joining special is $125 worth of product for $99. And then that gets you 20% off of your purchases. And I have a little team. I'd love to have you join it if you wanted. You don't have to sell in order to be a demonstrator, be called a demonstrator with Stampin' Up. It just means that you joined and got the special. You can sell if you want to. I decided to because a friend of mine asked me to have a party to do a party for her during Celebration, and I said yes, and I discovered that I like teaching, crafts, and I know that I will be doing this for a very long time because I enjoy it so much. If you don't have a demonstrator and would like a catalog, let me know. I can hook you up. Let's see. One of these was looking a little thicker than it should. Not my best fussy cut job, I'm going to say. Just going to throw that out there. And it looks like this one I actually went off the edge of the paper and didn't realize it, so I'm going to just kind of round that out a bit. Not quite as obvious. Okay. Whew. We're through the hard part now. All right, this card sits on a white card base. So I'm going to go, it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish that. using my bone folder. And this will be the inside of my card. Yeah, look at that. I did cut that wrong. So I'm going to have to cut this one down so that it sits inside of this mat. That's all right. So this is going to sit in the front here. This is going to be applied to the front here. And I'm going to need a sentiment on here and some embellishments. I have this ribbon that I could wrap. I can wrap this and then apply this and then apply a bow. Or I don't really want to cover this up. I think I'm going to use some dimensionals, pop this up. All right. So I'm going to apply this to the front of the card. Just going to center it top to bottom, side to side. Just like that. Get these dimensional backs out of the way. Now I'm going to use dimensionals to pop this up, but before I do, I'm actually going to use my bone folder and I'm going to curl these bigger flowers. I'm just going to curl the edges a little bit. And what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a little bit of lift above and beyond the dimensionals that I'm using. So it's going to sit like that. Put a dimensional behind each of those smaller flowers because I'm actually going to put more flowers on top. And that's going to give see the dimension that it gives that? All right. Sorry, I touched my camera. I was looking at comments, looking to see if there were any questions that I needed to be answering. So I'm just going to set this in here. Now I'm going to put one dimensional on the back of each of these, but I'm going to curl these flower petals. Just give them just a little bit of lift. Same thing with the little one. There we go. All right. One dimensional on the back of each of one of those. I'm envisioning some gem or something in the middle of these flowers. So I'm going to line them up. There we go. That. And like that. So these videos all sit over on YouTube. Sorry, you keep hearing me bend over. It's to pick up what's falling in my carpet. All right. So now I am going to figure out my sentiment that's going to sit right here. And I pulled out my banner punch, pick a banner punch. And so I think I forgot to mention on this card, that I had pulled the sentiments from the Special Moments. It's a celebration stamp set. I'm going to do the same thing for this card. And let's pull a happy birthday. Let's pull this right here. And then I forgot, there was one thing I forgot to do, and that was, so my paper that's sitting on the inside, I need to make it smaller now to match that. So I'm grabbing my paper cutter, and I'm not going to bring it on camera. I'm just double checking my dimensions. So I need to go 1/8 of an inch smaller on both sides. There's that. And 1/8 of an inch smaller on this side. And that should make it so that it sits inside the mat that I've already got cut. So I'll check that before I apply any ink. And it does. It's perfect. So I'm going to bring over the same mask that I used before. I'm just going to apply just a little bit right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a new piece of, remember I threw away that other piece of Post-it tape. And I am going to, all right, there we go. Oh, it came right off. What I'm trying to do is get this nice and straight. So, I'm not thrilled with that alignment. There we go. I think I can make that work if I can get it to pick up without sticking. Ah! So when I was making my samples, I was working with a different sort of tabletop and I wasn't using this paper as a protection. And I imagine that's why I'm getting some different results now. That's going to come off again, I can feel it. And now I'm looking to see where my paper edge is. I just realized what would probably make this easiest is if I masked this. So I'm going to use my grid paper. And masked that like that. Okay, here we go. Then use, that's what I should have done in the first place. Then place this on top. Adhere that down. Off the paper, adhere that down off the paper, and then grab some new Post-it sheets, like that. There. Now I'm good. Now I'm good. Grab back out that soft succulent. Threw a little bit of ink on there, and just emulating that design right down the side of the inside of the card. so that the inside is as decorated as the outside. Different level, of course. And you can do the same thing to an envelope. You can decorate the flap, or you can decorate the front corner, or something like that. Okay. There. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? So that is the inside of the card. That's where you're going to write your message. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that and put that on the inside. Set these all off to one side. Let's see, I believe I'm done with, no, I'm not done with this because I'm going to use that again. Ah, all these extra pieces of tape. We're getting close to done with this card, and then we just have one left. I had thought about having all that stuff pre-fussy cut, but then we miss out on the opportunity for me to tell you about how to do the fussy cutting. Okay. That's funny. That one, that one was already ready to go. All right. So now I can adhere that on the inside. Nice tie together, right? All right, my adhesive is on. There we go. So now I need a sentiment and my embellishments. So for my sentiment, I'm going to grab, I have some scrap paper over here off to one side. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut that in the pink, or stamp that in the pink, not cut that in the pink. And that one's too short. Polished pink is our pink of choice today. I'm going to grab my piercing mat so I get a nice good stamped image. Nice and clear. And then I just realized that I didn't leave an edge over here for the banner, which is frustrating, but that's okay. I can turn it around and do it again. I need to leave a little bit of an edge to create either the point or the flag end of the banner. See if I got that one as straight as I did the last one. Ooh, not too bad. Not too bad at all. So I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. I'm going to close my ink because the opportunity to make a mess is just too great. And I'm just going to take that off camera to make the cut. Looks like I'm going to need about a 3/8 of an inch. So all of my instructions will be on my blog later today. So what I think I'm going to do, let's see. That. And so I have the opportunity here. See, there's the pointed end. I think this is called the banner end or the flag end. So I think I'm going to do the flag end over here. And I'm going to flip it over and make sure that my paper is centered. And it's not. It still isn't. Okay, I'm going to have to do that off camera because I need to get it up in front of my face. There it is. I got it. And the other end. So you just want to get it centered from side to side. There we go. All right. And, oh, actually that pointed end isn't even going to show. That's okay, unless I move it down here, which would be great because then I could put my bow right here. All right. So this goes off to one side. Grab my ribbon. Establish the size of my bow, which I think I'm going to keep about the same size as my last one. So that's just in here. All these extra pieces of tape are making it harder to maneuver. That's all right. I've only got a couple pieces left to have to tape down, and then I can get these pieces of tape off of the table. All right. I want to be careful that I put this bow in place before I adhere this down, because I don't want to have to shove the, move this over here so you can see what I'm doing. I don't want to have to shove the sentiment up into the bow and possibly hide part of the sentiment in the bow. I'm cutting right up the middle of this open weave ribbon, just like I did the last one. It makes a pretty bow. It makes a pretty bow if I would have left it solid too, which would have saved me time, but I had my heart set on this kind of a bow. All right, come on. There we go. Wow. I'm definitely having all kinds of issues with my bow making today, aren't I? Good thing I'm using a bow maker. Let's try this again. It's this here, this here. So, since the pandemic is coming to a, it's not coming to a close, but it's coming to a point where people can start getting out and about a bit more. What are you hoping to get out and do? My husband and I, okay, I'm really messing around here with this. My husband and I, as I've mentioned before, are part of a boat racing community. And there we go. Whew. Thought that wasn't going to happen. We can't wait to get out and be with our friends and family that participate in that activity. And then we have my husband's mother turns 90 this year, so we will be going to Utah for her birthday. Let's see. See what I mean? I wanted to be careful about where I placed this I think that has to go there. So yeah, that's gonna work. All right. What else? We've gone to the coast this last year. We didn't go the year before. We've been to see some friends over in the Tri-Cities area. We look forward to doing that again this year. That was not glued on, so no foul. Goodness gracious. There. My bow is on. Now I can put my sentiment on and some gems. And I see that I have gone over my time. I think I may just do the third card as instructions and include that afterwards. So I'm going to use mini glue dots to put this down because I don't want it to fight with the height of my flower. So that's what my husband and I have planned for the year. We're not going too crazy, but we have enough stuff planned to have some fun and get out. All right, and now some gems, and I think in this case I'm going to use some of the in color gems. I've got the pink, that actually the pink would look real pretty. I was going to use the green, but I think the pink would be real pretty. And now I'm looking for, there it is. I take my pick tool. I like to use the clay end to apply my gems. So let's just do similarly to what I did with the other card. And there we are. So what I'm going to do, my friends, is I will do the third card as part of the instructions that will be posted on my blog. And you will see all three cards at that time. I've gone over my time by quite a bit. So rather than make this too long of a video, I will shorten that up and do it that way. So these are the first two cards, and then this will be the third card, and this is going to have a different kind of sentiment on it. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you all so very much. I love you all, and please stay safe and be well. Hugs.